Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the fastest growing R&B podcast around. This Can We Talk R&B podcast with me, Nnamdi.
And I'm Omar.
Yes,
Welcome, guys.
welcome. So, what's been going on? It's always good to come up with some stuff to talk about. Anything on your mind?
Well, I have really been thinking about one of my favorite labels, Laface.
Okay.
We recently did a episode where we were talking about our favorite Bad Boy singles, and I thought,
Yes,
you know what, Laface was right up there with Bad Boy. They had some
yeah,
of the biggest artists of the '90s,
that's true.
and I was curious to get your favorite Laface singles because um, when we really think back on the Face Records time, they brought us a lot of classics, a lot of songs that we're still hearing today.
Mm.
Um, you know, no shade to like No Limit, but I don't know if we're listening to Make Them Say today. I mean, I do, but I don't know that the masses are. So I would like to get your favorite LaFace records. What are your?
Okay.
Would you like to start, or I can
Yeah,
start if you want.
yeah. I can. No, I can start. I mean, I think. And I think when I think about them, I'll look at some. They had some big artists, so people might not remember. That's a big artist. But I'll start with one that who came to the label quite late in the day, and you almost forget that they're part of the face, and that was As Yet Last Night. It's
Oh yeah,
it
that
it
one.
it, it was a massive, probably one of their biggest singles actually for the label, but it was
Yes.
very odd situation where they were based out in LA and weren't really part of the mix. But that was really a powerful track um, by a group who had some really good talent, but unfortunately didn't really get to progress after that first album.
And that's the funny thing about it. Like Babyface had written so many hits for Boys to Men. I was excited when he had his own group on his own label.
Yeah,
And I wasn't really at that time. I wasn't really familiar with the dynamic of the label. I didn't know that LA was more involved with the business handlings of the label,
yeah,
and which is a really good way to go about a business. So Babyface was responsible for a lot of the production as well on the label. So when he did As Yet's Last Night, I'm like, wow, he's got his own voice to man. This is gonna be monster. So after their third, I think their third single, they kind of disappeared. But
yeah,
I really remember that song. I love it. I was introduced from the Nutty Professor soundtrack. That's where
yeah, yeah,
his
yeah, yeah,
first
yeah.
showed up. But yeah, I love that song. That's a classic. It will never die. I love that song. Well, for me, number five, I have to go with uh, a group that a lot of people don't associate with LaFace necessarily, even though, or maybe they do. I mean, Atlanta, they're very popular around Atlanta, that whole sound.
A
They
bit
come from that
articulate.
organized noise, Dungeon Family, Outcast. Now, I have so many songs I wanted to put up here, but I'm gonna go with the original Outcast song that their first single, because that song was really like, for me, a shock, because I always thought of Laface Records as a R&B label. So when they
Yeah,
had Outkast come out with Players Ball,
yeah.
I lost my mind. I'm like, oh my God, Babyface got a hip hop group. So I was like, really, it was very curious. I was like, this is interesting, and they sound good too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Players Ball is just that all the players
yeah.
play. With that
And
mind.
at that time,
I love
I
that
was living in the
song.
South, so I was living in Alabama and between Alabama and Atlanta, and it felt I felt like, wow, this felt, I could see the guys like that, and it was,
Oh,
I could barely the thing about me is that cause I'm not I could barely understand what they were saying. I couldn't understand what they're saying, but I like the
yeah.
flow over the beats and the singing. And so, I have no idea what I would to today, no idea what they're talking about, but I love the flow over the beats and the background. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they were like the pioneers of that, like that Atlanta rap scene, like that sound, and they introduced us to that Dungeons family, the organized
yeah,
noise
I mean,
production
yeah,
type thing, and it was just so unique and different from what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
That's what was exciting about it, is it was ushering in a different sound
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that us than the main, like that us that listen to the mainstream are not familiar with.
Well, I
So
think,
it was
yeah,
really,
there's a lot of credit has to go to Laface for not just having the label, for not for introducing their sudden hip hop, but also creating that sort of, okay, we got the Goody Mob, we've got our Outcast, we've got the
mhm.
organized noise part of the clique, to be able to CeeLo, all these guys be able to
Yeah, take those
express themselves
risks.
in a way
Yeah.
that, we're just gonna let you do your stuff. It might be different. I mean, when I look at my number 4, and I was hoping you were gonna say this. Sorry, Miss Jackson.
Ah, yes.
I
I
miss
left that one for
you
you because that was
so
that's the one I was going back and forth. Like, do I say it or no? I'm gonna say the
I was
original
like,
song.
I mean,
That's
my
the
goodness. I mean,
monster
there's
jam
no,
there.
and at the time when Miss Jackson came out, I think I was in LA, and everyone, black, white, loved the track. We probably didn't understand what they say, but it was, because it's different. When Big Boy raps, it's kind of fast. Andre almost talks when he raps, so you can understand what he's saying and stuff. And the video, and he
Right.
had a little dog, anyone bump into the beats and stuff like that. And everyone knew Miss Jackson, you kind of thing. So it was, yeah. I mean, I said LaFace. It was, that I had to respect LaFace because they're very diverse. And we'll go through some other songs. Yeah.
Yes.
What
And
about you?
I really have to credit LA because I feel like LA, being that he was in charge of a lot of the business decisions and
Yeah.
signing a lot of the artists, that he was open to taking risks. He clearly was a music man to understand what was going to work, because it was, I mean, I'm pretty sure when Clive Davis probably gave him that budget to have their own label, he was thinking, okay, this is going to be the Babyface show. And it really wasn't as much as people think it was. The Face had a very diverse roster of artists,
Yeah. And
and very
yeah.
self-contained.
I mean, he's probably one of the, I remember when Simon Cowell introduced American X Factor, and he was sitting with LA, and I wondered who's more of a powerful industry person, because Simon, made a lot of money as a record executive before he got into TV, but LA Reid, not only was he didn't write the songs. Babyface wrote the lyrics. LA did he was a drummer, did the
Right.
production. So all that's, all the Don't Be Cruel, that's LA with all the beats, all the foundations of how he co-produced those tracks. Um, but he probably put some lyrics in there because he did talk about the stuff he did for Pebbles and stuff. But he then took it to another level where he saw the business side and saw the importance about ownership and stuff. And
Right.
while Babyface just loved being in his studio, even when I worked briefly at Edmonds Entertainment in LA, he was always on in Brandon Studios, which is in Edmonds Tower. He would always come in, just be
Right.
in his studio writing and writing and writing. Didn't even get involved with the label or the entertainment side of things. So they were doing soul food, they were doing all these reality shows. He wasn't bothered about that. He just wanted to do his music. So
Right.
it
Well,
worked out.
the business part of it is not, it's just not for everybody. Everybody's not going to take to business. And LaFace, I mean LaFace, LA, he just took to that party. And I've been around a lot of producers who don't want to, they don't really care about that part. They just want to be in the, in the lab cooking up all the time. But you
Yeah.
have those producers and people, songwriters, whoever, that are really into the business part, and they're like, okay, so what's the split? What's the percentage? What's the da, 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 and what's the turnover? Whatever. So they have minds for that, and it is what it is. But anyway, let me get to my next one. So we're at number what,
So I've done
3 now?
my fourth one. So this is your fourth one.
Oh, my no, number fourth one. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. I'm gonna go with my girl Tony Braxton, with "Breathe Again,"
Okay.
and I love that song. I choose songs that remind me of LaFace because I used to actually get the physical cassettes, and I just remember staring at the logo like, what if I could be on LaFace one day? So I would love to. Like, it was two labels back in the day. I really want, no, three actually, but originally two. I either wanted to be on Uptown Records or Laface. And then when Uptown had their transition, it went from them to Bad Boys, the two labels. I was like, oh, I want to be on those labels. But anyway, because they had just everything was hot. So Toni Braxton's "Breathe Again" was just one of those songs where it was very distinctively Toni. It was a massive hit for her, massive hit for the label, and it was just exciting to see a new label helmed by my two favorite producers at the time succeeding. I mean, I was aware of Perspective Records, and Perspective Records was kind of hit or miss with artists. I was aware of So Def and different labels around that time, but the consistency that LaFace would continue to turn out singles and albums that were just successful back to back was very inspiring and exciting. So
and sadly enough for me is that was the one song that I it just feels like a too slow a song for me. This is one of Toni's, to me, one of her that I don't like the least. Again. It just feels sad.
Yeah, I know you like the up-tempo, so it probably ain't. I mean, I'm an up-tempo person too, but I'm also a songwriter, and the lyrics got me. So for me, I do a lot of listening to lyrics too. So if I try to find this thing, I give the song a chance. Like I from different standpoints. I might not like your singing, but I like the lyrics, or I might not like the lyrics, but I like the beat, or I might not like the singing or the lyrics, but the beat and character, as long as that beat is dope. Because there's been a few songs that's kind of skirted by, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of whack, but I like this beat. Especially some songs that Timbaland produced, but that's another story. Anyway.
So my third one is Love Should Have Brought You. This is when we first got introduced to Toni. Love Should Have Brought You Home last night. I mean, apart from the film, it was a good film and stuff, but it's it just, as I said, it introduced us to her. And when you have a song that almost feels like we could understand what's going on, it's almost as if they watched the movie then wrote the song, kind of thing. And very rarely do we see that. Most people just write a song and it can fit anywhere in the movie, but it's as if Babyface watched the movie then wrote the song on it. I mean, and it just felt like it was telling a story. And I just loved knowing and being introduced by this young, powerful, small, powerful female singer with a short haircut, which was very rare. I mean, well, okay, I don't want people to crucify me because I don't know hair fashion, but it was interesting to see a female just like how Toni was. She was different. She was unique. She wasn't like anyone else, that was on the stage at that time. The first Toni, because by the time she got to the third album, she became all risque with her dressing and stuff.
Yeah.
The smallest bikini outfit that she stuff.
That's the formula for every female artist.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm gonna say my number 3 is gonna be another hip hop group, Goody Mob, with Self Therapy. Who's that peeping in my windows?
Okay.
Nobody. Now that song was another one that has solidified LaFace is not just an R&B label. And like I said, I wanted to throw some hip hop acts. I wanted to throw some hip hop acts into this too, just because I wanted to show the diversity. I mean, I want to show and highlight the other successful songs, because Goody Mob was another group that was on LaFace that made a little noise. And Self Therapy, and they had another song, They Don't Dance No More. They had a couple of hits. So I really like that song. That song has been sampled so many times. I think it was sampled for what's the guy's name? Alfonso. He has a song, Just the Way Players Play. Alfonso Hunter. Every day, all day. I don't know if anybody remember that song, but that's the sampled song.
Sounds like Horace Brown there.
He did sound like, so he came out around the same time.
Okay.
But several people have sampled that song Self Therapy for their records. So I love that song.
Well, my second to last one, or penultimate one, is What About Your Friends? TLC. because that
So,
was really, because I remember I was 91 when it came out. I was still in Nigeria, about to move to the US, and just to see these three young girls, just dressing in such a odd fashion, as I said, they were in what was happening out there, and they had their energy and their vibe, and the track just felt like the party friendship stuff. And
mhm,
yeah, it was really what introduced us to TLC. Loved Dallas, kind of his. Yeah, it's strange. He was such a he had a he was doing TLC, he was doing Boys to Men, he was doing ABC. He had the way his drum programming, his drumming was very distinct, kind of Dallas, and a little
right.
scratch when he's production, so you could sort of tell Dallas Austin stuff, and he really made a massive difference to their career. He was their Brian Alexander Morgan to SWV. That was
Right.
Dallas to TLC and stuff. So yeah, I love that track. I love that introduction of TLC through that track.
All right. Well, cool. I like that one too. All right. For my number two, I'm gonna put an artist that I don't think is always associated with LaFace, but they were a LaFace artist. Sierra Goodies.
Was she on the
Goodies.
face? Okay.
Goodies. Yeah. Not my goodies. Yeah, that was she was on the face. I believe LA Reid signed her.
Mm.
Of course, like I said, this is probably when Babyface pretty much part ways with LaFace and was doing his own thing somewhere else with Edmonds. He worked there, Edmonds,
Yeah, and they formed
Group,
Yab Yum, the Yab
and
Yum,
yeah,
where they had
Yap Yum.
John B. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a big hit for her. Now of course it doesn't have that signature LaFace vibe or sound, but she
Mm.
was a big artist on that label. I think she was the last big artist on LaFace,
Well,
and then
I
they
think the
merged with Jive and all of that stuff. So
yeah, and also Pink.
yeah, this is right before that merger when
You remember when they signed Pink and she came out with an R&B track, something about the party.
yeah, the first Can't Take Me Home was the album, and she had, There You Go and
There you
Pretty
go. Yeah, yeah,
Girls
yeah. There you
and
go.
all of
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
there you go. And
yeah, yeah.
then she she was able to do a Mariah Carey and like, okay, let me do my rock thing
Mhm.
and become a big star. Yes.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
her
Okay.
second album, if I'm not mistaken, I think the second album was released on Arista though. She
It
when
was
she
yeah
just
because it
really
was
parted
after they merged.
ways.
No, what
Yeah,
so as you mentioned, when they absorbed LaFace and LA, and when they absorbed LaFace, that's when most they that she moved across. Um,
right.
yeah, I just realized that y- um, I just realized 'cause my last track is Donnell Jones. You know what's up? And as I was thinking about that, I just realized that I didn't mention Usher in any of my stuff. But then, because I forget he was on the face.
Oh,
But that's Donnell Jones. You know what's up? It's it was probably one of his biggest hits, and and he mentioned about they brought the track to him. He didn't. It was dope, but he didn't like the lyrics, and they had to go reproduce it. And L.A. Reid just said, "Hey, why don't we get Left Eye on this?" And he was like, you know, and she made the song, because she had just at that time she had just burnt down under her under Horizon's house,
right.
and so she was in
Uh-huh.
little eyes. So this was yeah. So it was yeah. So a big track. It was it could have done. It was one of those because without that track, he said that stuff made his album go triple platinum. That single just blew up worldwide. But because he would have just enjoyed staying in this sort of lane, like um is this Uncle Sam or Tony Rich project? He would have just stayed in that sort of kind of
Right, right, right.
doing a gold
Just
album
that
and staying
gold.
there. But that album just blew up without that. Anyway, what about yourself? What's your
And then at the time, gold albums was only going to get you so far at the label, because you know
because they were spending a lot more on
usually
videos
on
and everything.
average R&B, because R&B was really big in the 90s. So if you're just a gold artist, you're just kind of squeaking by. Whereas,
Yeah,
they, especially on a label like LaFace, they're expecting to do platinum. So,
because they're
but
spending a
for
lot
me,
more. Yeah, go ahead.
number one was actually also Donald Jones, you know what's up. But I'm going to go with, since you mentioned another big player that we didn't mention other. How can we mention Laface Records best singles and not mention Usher? So I'm definitely going to go with "You Make Me Wanna," which is
Okay.
one of his big songs. Usher, like I said, Usher. I really like Usher. I'm not a big Usher fan. Let's be clear, but Usher's My Way album was just a restructuring, a rebranding of sorts, a reboot of his brand and what he was trying to. I think the first album they were trying to market him as a crooner, and I think they took it back and they took elements of from Michael Jackson and Bobby Brown, and they said, what, we're gonna rebrand this guy as a performer, an overall entertainer, because he can do more than just sing. In those first videos, you saw him just kind of standing around singing. But this album, "You Make You Wanna," he's doing the dance
Yeah,
moves.
yeah,
He
yeah,
got
yeah.
his shirt off. He look, he's got a whole new thing. It was just reintroducing us to Usher,
Yeah,
and I was really impressed and shocked, like, with how he, basically grew up so fast and just
yeah.
introduced himself.
And
So
yeah.
You Make Me Wanna always represents that moment. Whenever I think of Usher, that's like one of the first videos that pop in my mind
Mm,
about when somebody brings up Usher's name or talks
mm,
about his career. Like, that video, just the visual of it pops
yeah.
in my mind of him singing that song. And that's
Yeah.
definitely one of the songs that really set LaFace, on a hot hit streak during the mid '90s.
Yeah. I mean, we will talk about Usher. We will talk about how the difference taking him from Diddy and giving him to JD, and how much of a difference that made in his evolution, and then the fact that he evolved where he got yeah, what's the guy's name? I can't remember. The guy that does Yeah, who
Oh, you talking about
produced
Lil
Yeah,
Jon? Oh yeah,
Lil
yeah, Lil
Jon.
Jon. Yeah,
Yeah, so how he
yeah,
how he just
Usher
kept
deserves his
evolving.
own episode, guys.
Yeah,
We're
so
gonna give him his
we
own
we're gonna do we're
segments.
gonna do
So
let's talk about Usher. So, but yeah, guys, think about your LaFace records. Remember, we didn't even touch Waiting to Exhale, any of the
yeah.
soundtracks and all the
Well,
stuff.
that wasn't on LaFace. That was,
Oh, it
well,
wasn't.
here in the States, it was on Arista. I don't know what is in other territories, but here it was on
Okay,
Arista. Yeah.
okay. So yeah, so I mean, there may be people that we did, people might say, is it Dana Dane that was on LaFace?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few people we left out. I mean, we have just 5
Tony
slots.
Rich Project,
I love Get Down Right Down to It. I love that song. I love
Yeah,
Dana Dane. I'm sorry that they
yeah.
passed away, but
So yeah,
and
there's a number of stuff.
yeah,
So, but anyway, yeah,
Few Good
your
Men.
top five.
Have I Never? Y'all remember that song, Have I Never, by A Few Good Men? They had a group before As Yet. Some people
Oh,
remember.
okay,
A
okay.
Few Good Men was their name. They had a couple of hits. Sam Salter, remember Sam Salter,
Mm,
guys? But it's all kinds of people we could mention. But
yeah.
LaFace was one of those labels, like I said, it just has so many successes, and I don't think they get the
But
recognition that
Shanice
they've
went
had over
gold,
the
and
years.
it wasn't enough to save her career
Yeah, it
at
wasn't,
LaFace.
you
Yeah.
know. And I thought that's her second single, Yesterday. I thought that should have been a huge hit for her. But like I said, Shanice is one of those. I really hate that she didn't have the career that she deserved. And I
Mm,
think that when she did the "I Like Your Smile," it was a cute song, but it pigeonholed her because it didn't show
mm,
her vocal ability. And she
yeah.
had such a wide vocal ability that was not really recognized on that particular single, and that just happened to be the
Mm.
song that blew up. But anyway, we can talk about that. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that
It
another
was,
episode. But guys, let us know your thoughts on your favorite LaFace singles. Maybe we missed one. Let us know your list in the comment section below. And me and Nnamdi are signing off. Catch us on the next episode of Can We Talk R&B podcast.
Ciao.
Bye.